Hello everyone, I'm your host Soul, and today we are doing something a bit different. I say that like I've been posting something consistent in the first place, but whatever, it's fine. As I was saying, today we will be doing a voiceover speed paint of a Warrior Cats drawing I did recently. So, story time. I decided I was going to draw something for a small monthly challenge hosted by one of the artists I like. More specifically, I was going to combine two props from the last months, Hawkfrost and Ashfur, in a piece that has both of them. But as I drew the concept sketches for the artwork, I made an AU that I thought was pretty cool, and thus I decided to talk about it in this voiceover. Also, I'm going to be talking about the series in a familiar way, so if you aren't familiar with Warrior Cats past the second series, I'd recommend skipping this video and coming back after you know more about it. For anyone who doesn't know, AU stands for Alternate Universe, a common fan activity in fandoms where they take the original media and create what-if scenarios in order to alter the story, whether it be slightly or dramatically. These what-if scenarios can be anything from what if all the characters were animals, to what if this character was evil, to anything else. The possibilities of alternate universes are pretty much endless, which is exactly what makes them so fun. Now, this alternate universe takes effect starting around Dawn, the third book in the New Prophecy arc. More specifically, during the Great Journey, when the four clans traveled from their old forest territories that were being torn down by humans to their new one, the Lake Territories. On this journey, Ashfur meets a tomcat from RiverClan, who introduces himself as Hawkfrost, the former deputy of RiverClan, while the previous deputy, Mistyfoot, was missing. Before she came back, of course. Ashfur is charmed by Hawkfrost, and throughout the long journey, the two would talk nearly every day, and soon took romantic interest in each other. Of course, they both knew that once the journey was done and the clans found their new territories, they wouldn't be able to see each other nearly as much, worsened by the news that RiverClan and ThunderClan would no longer share a border like they did previously. Neither warrior wanted to leave their clan, so they agreed to meet near the horse place outside the territories every few nights to see each other and talk. After a few months and many meetings, Hawkfrost opens up about his father, Tigerstar, and how he was meeting with Tigerstar in the Dark Forest. He includes that he and his brother Brambleclaw were planning on becoming leaders with their father's training and guidance. Naturally, Ashfur was concerned about Hawkfrost talking to Tigerstar, as Ashfur had witnessed Tigerstar's tyranny firsthand. In fact, Tigerstar even killed Ashfur's mother, Brindleface. Hearing his concern, Hawkfrost assures Ashfur that Tigerstar was actually a good guy, explaining Tigerstar's plot to combine the clans and how it would actually be a good thing. He lied and convinced Ashfur that it wasn't Tigerstar who killed Brindleface, rather another cat involved in his plan like Darkstripe or Blackfoot, and that Tigerstar would never kill a defenseless queen. This isn't true, but I'm sure Tigerstar isn't above lying to Hawkfrost or otherwise convincing him to lie to Ashfur. Ashfur left for the night to think about the news, unsure who to trust. After many nights of pondering, Ashfur agreed with the sentiment and joined in the plot. Hawkfrost explained how Squirrelflight, Brambleclaw's potential mate, was planning against them, because she thought that the clans were better apart and was manipulating Brambleclaw to believe the same. He told Ashfur that Squirrelflight needed to be removed from the equation, though she couldn't be killed due to her being the leader's daughter, and the cats would need Firestar's trust if they wanted to combine the clans. Both agreed that Ashfur should intervene before Squirrelflight convinced Brambleclaw to abandon the plan and ruin the future that he'd worked so hard to ensure. As we know it in the books, Ashfur befriends Squirrelflight, and starting after she and Brambleclaw had a fight about Hawkfrost, even became a romantic interest to her. Though unlike in canon, Ashfur did this entirely as a ploy and had no romantic interest in the she-cat. Things continue the same they did in canon, with Squirrelflight losing interest in Ashfur after the Badger attack that occurred at the end of the 5th book in the arc, instead going back to Brambleclaw as a potential mate. Knowing that the plan with Squirrelflight had fallen through, Ashfur talked to Hawkfrost about the ways to fix it, but Hawkfrost reassured him that the time was close for the final part of their plan, too soon for Brambleclaw to interfere. Hawkfrost then shared to Ashfur his true plan that he formed with Tigerclaw, betraying Brambleclaw. They knew that Brambleclaw wouldn't kill Firestar or take over in any immoral way, so like Squirrelflight, they decided to remove him from the equation. It's not like Ashfur had any issue with betraying Brambleclaw. He had been tormenting Ashfur and Squirrelflight for moons at that point, and although Ashfur didn't care much for Squirrelflight, even he thought that was bad. Professionals have standards, after all. Anyway, with Ashfur having an apprentice and therefore being qualified to become deputy, getting rid of Brambleclaw would make him one of the next options. Not like Brambleclaw should have become deputy in the first place, but I am going by the book's logic, as much as I hate it. Similar to the books, Hawkfrost catches Firestar in a fox trap and sends Ashfur to tell the clan, so Hawkfrost can put on the act that he saw Brambleclaw attack Firestar from across the lake and ran to help. Unfortunately for Ashfur and Hawkfrost, Brambleclaw attacks Hawkfrost and manages to overpower him, killing Hawkfrost and freeing Firestar from the trap. Ashfur was devastated by his mate's death, both blaming Squirrelflight for changing Brambleclaw's opinion and Brambleclaw for ruining his life. Though he never spoke up about this, he knew that if his alliance with Hawkfrost was revealed, Ashfur would be exiled. So Hawkfrost began reaching out to Ashfur in his dreams, just like Tigerstar had done to Hawkfrost before. As he was coached from the afterlife, Ashfur's resentment towards Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw only grew, and it's not like any cat in the Place of No Stars would correct him or Hawkfrost by saying that Squirrelflight wasn't deserving of blame. This all builds up into the Power 3 arc, with Ashfur's resentment towards Squirrelflight and Brambleclaw's kids, one of which Ashfur even mentored. After the iconic fire scene where Ashfur attempted to kill Squirrelflight's kids, where she was forced to admit that they weren't actually hers, Ashfur knew that he'd be exposed for what he did eventually, so him and Hawkfrost created a backup plan to get Ashfur into StarClan if he died. The preparation ended up becoming useful after he was ambushed and murdered by Hollyleaf, as he was able to convince the StarClan cats holding his trial to let him in because he only loved too much. From there, you can even say that the events in the arcs of Omen of the Stars and the Broken Code fit nicely into this AU, as his relationship with Hawkfrost would give him valuable information into the working of the Place of No Stars and how he could sneak in. Not to mention that in The Last Hope, the last book of Omen of the Stars, Hawkfrost is killed by Brambleclaw for a final time, literally erasing him from existence. Firestar also dies after killing Tigerstar, wiping the two cats that Ashfur had connected with from inside the Place of No Stars, and making Brambleclaw the new leader of ThunderClan. These losses, especially Hawkfrost, would undoubtedly worsen Ashfur's mental state and make him truly turn into the character we see in the Broken Code. P.S. I'll say some small spoilers. I'll put a timestamp on the screen. Following Hawkfrost's second death, Ashfur would spiral into becoming the villain of the Broken Code that I think a lot of us really like. Trapping StarClan, ruling the Place of No Stars, possessing Bramblestar, and exiling codebreakers like Squirrelflight, all as a final act of revenge. These changes to Ashfur honestly makes him so much more interesting to me. Stories where the antagonist is lashing out after being rejected by the protagonist are so overdone, and a change was definitely in order. Plus, Brambleclaw is a horrible character and cat as it is. Squirrelflight does not need another jealous boy after her. I would love to rewrite the new prophecy if I had time, and this would absolutely be my most significant change. Ashfur is a pretty cool villain as he is, but making him a well-intentioned character corrupted by the people around him to become the petty, scheming big bad that lied his way into StarClan just feels so right. Anyway, this alternate universe is one of my favorites I've thought of. Another reason I was so happy to make this the first thing I've talked about in a voiceover. Don't worry, I have many AUs that I hope to discuss in the future, but for now, this is where I'll leave you all today. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Feel free to comment your thoughts, feelings, and personal AUs, as I'd love to hear your take. Also, if you want to get more reliable notifications when I upload, sneak peeks to future projects, or if you just want a place to chat and hang out, the link to my Discord and other social media links are in the description. This was your host, Soul, and I hope to see you all soon.